new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to the Final Fantasy Lorecast, a podcast dedicated to the history and lore of the Final Fantasy series. Join us as we take a deep dive into the different worlds, characters, and so much more. Welcome back, Warriors of Light, to another episode of the Final Fantasy Lorecast. And then again, I almost said a different show, because I'm on so many of them. And with me today is obviously one of my other hosts, Trey.
But you nailed that Warriors of Light.
Oh, I did.
That was so smooth.
It almost came out something different right when my mind was thinking, but hey, put that to the sideline. But today is our end of the month patron chat, and we are joined by Hylian Cubby again. Thank you for joining us on today's show.
Glad to be here, man.
And the topic we're going over today is what is our favorite big bads in the Final Fantasy series. And these can be any of the villains and enemies we face in the series, because there are so many, and there's only so many games that a lot of us have played. So, keep it pretty generic. So, who wants to start first? I say Trey.
Well, I mean, I feel like I came with a list of 3 bosses I wanted to hit, and given my list, it's only appropriate to start with the boss that started it all in Chaos. I love that you fight Garland at the beginning of the game, and you beat him very easily in Final Fantasy 1, and then it turns out that they take that body, go back in time, and he becomes like the whole story of him becoming Chaos. I wanted to bring that one up first because I love the story, I love the time travel aspect, and I just thought it was a really great way to introduce everyone into what Final Fantasy is.
Yeah. I mean, Garland / Chaos is a great boss and fight. And then again, they even expand on his story with Strangers of Paradise, which you become the boss / villain. Which is like one of the very few times that they've done that in the series. I would say before that, it was basically, what's his name from 15? They did a DLC for him that you could play as him. Arden, yes.
Yeah, that was always a really exciting twist, to have in such an early game. Garland is basically the first boss you face in that game, right? Like, he's kidnapped the princess, you have to go save her, and is not a particularly difficult boss early on in the game, right? And then by the time you get to the end, you've completely forgotten about that, right? And to have that come back around and have him be the mastermind behind all of this, it's pretty interesting.
I know it's not a big comparison, but I was scrolling Reddit earlier, and I saw a video of live reaction to the Darth Vader "Luke, I am your father" scene. And it's obviously not as big of a twist, but it just kind of reminds me of that early on in the storytelling, like early on in the genre, what we consider now basic storytelling concepts. They were so revolutionary, so huge, and I feel like the time travel aspect of it just magic and casting spells and the crystals and energy. That's all one type of fantasy, but when you add time travel into it, I think that just stepped it up a whole nother level for me. And I loved the boss that is Chaos. And when I go back and play the older games, because I came in at 7 and 8, so I go back and I play those, and it's the stories that grip me, because I'm not playing for the graphics. I'm not necessarily even playing for the gameplay, because it's all been copied and done over so much, but I'm playing for the stories and the characters, and Garland has always been one of my favorites.
Gameplay as well. At least I haven't played any of the remakes of the original, but the gameplay of the original created so much challenge, simply because the way that the magic system worked in that game, where you could only cast a certain number of spells per level, and there was no way to restore your magic after you cast a spell, like until you would sleep, and there was no way to like sleep within a dungeon. So, I mean, that dungeon, I don't remember the boss battle being too difficult, but the dungeon itself, having to face all 4 of the elemental fiends leading up to the boss battle with Chaos, I do remember that was a slog. Like it would take a while. And
they make it easier in the newer ones. I don't know if they have an option to play in the original difficulty, but they definitely made it easier in some of the later releases.
Yeah.
But that was always like a badge of honor if you could get through that dungeon and you could beat all 4 of them and beat the game. Like, that was, so many people got to that dungeon and just didn't make it through. And I never played it on that original difficulty, so I don't have that badge of honor. I did beat it, but it was one of the later releases, and it wasn't nearly as challenging as what most people say. So I can't imagine that I went through the turmoil and torture that those unfortunate souls did. But it was worth it, because it's a great boss battle.
Yeah. Admittedly, the only way I was able to defeat it was the Nintendo Power published a full, guide, Nintendo Power magazine, back when, people read magazines, right? They had a full walkthrough with, dungeon maps and all kinds of stuff, information about the bosses. So there's no way I would have been able to accomplish that without the guide.
What a great thing to have. Like, shout out to Nintendo Power for including that in just a regular, edition, and not having to purchase a strategy guide. I don't even know if they had strategy guides
So back then, no. The strat guides didn't really come out until like mid-90s.
I was gonna say, I don't even remember
around mid-90s,
like even 6. I know 7 had one, but I don't remember one before 6 or before 7.
Nintendo Power, that takes me back, because I might still have some old Nintendo Power magazines lying around somewhere, but yeah, like, kudos for Nintendo Power back in the day for helping all old school RPG fans, because my god, trying to learn that stuff on your own and trying to figure it out on your own when you're like 8 is not fun.
Yep.
But yeah, so Garland's great, Chaos. I'm going to throw one out, and that is, Sharp's going to really like this. Kefka from 16. Right? No, not Kefka. Kupka? Which one?
Do you want Kupka from 16?
Kupka.
Who has Titan?
Kupka. Yes, Kupka.
Okay.
I get those
Kupka
two mixed
16.
up. They're like similar names every time. Kupka from 16. Yeah, terrifying villain. And not fun. Like his fights or his Titan fights with Ifrit are amazing. And Trey can tell you about that too, because he's done it.
Just the most fantastic of fights. But even the character himself, like, so Titan is, I mean, how would you just describe him? Like a big old brute, like he looks like a football linebacker on steroids.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first time I remember getting introduced to him is they're in the war room and they're talking about if Titan would just go out and fight, this would all be over in a minute. And Titan comes in and he's like, if I come out and then Shiva's coming out and I'm killing everybody, and that's not what we want. So how about you guys step up and be leaders and figure it out? And then he walks out with Benedicta. But like just from the first introduction, I remember like he's just a no nonsense. He's the guy that's in control, and he is very aware of the power that his powers grant him.
Yes, very much so, and he's very level headed. To a certain point, until you get to a certain point in the game, he becomes not level headed whatsoever. But he's very level headed that when you first get introduced to him, especially like knowing the casualties, knowing how war is like, and what he needs to do to accomplish. But, 20 minutes into the game, Titan gets released regardless, and, all hell breaks loose. Which, if you have not seen the 16 fights of the icons, they're just kaiju fights. Just think Godzilla, but Final Fantasy characters. This is literally all it is. It's fantastic.
Cody, how much am I allowed to spoil for you on here about 16?
I'm probably not going to play it.
Okay, so I think...
At least not for a long time.
I think the most badass scene I've ever seen in a Final Fantasy is Kupka is in the old throne room. Clive's dad's old throne room. Clive walks in, and Kupka's just like, "I've been waiting for you." And then he smashes the throne. He's like, "Your country is dust. I've been waiting for you because your leader killed my woman. And since your leader is dead, I'm going to kill you." And then Clive is like, "Oh, you are mistaken. It's not your leader, my leader you want. I'm the one who killed her." And the conversation that they have is, the voice acting is superb. The tension is it's perfect. I think it is my favorite scene, in like I would say from like 12 on. Because it's just different with the way graphics are, voice acting. It's hard to compare a scene from 16 to, say, a scene from Final Fantasy 6.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you go, like, honestly, Cody, I'm probably going to send this to you when we get out of this. But it's my favorite scene from 16 for sure. I've went back and watched it a few times. It's just so well done.
Oh, and that's the other thing. Like with all the new games coming out nowadays, you have these voice actors doing mocap, so you're getting the full, like, their full body motion and everything when they're talking and when they're doing these scenes, so it feels so much more immersive and realistic to what you're actually playing. And, like, 16, like, Square Enix has not disappointed when it comes to cutscenes. Like, that's just their main thing they go to, is cutscenes, and their cutscenes are fantastic.
Do you watch Game of Thrones, Cubby?
No.
Okay.
16's very Game of Thrones-y.
Well, there's a specific moment in Game of Thrones where this old lady, she's getting ready to die, and she tells this guy, "I want your sister to know it was me." And she goes, "I want Cersei to know it was me." And she's talking about, she's the one who killed her kid. And that, "I want her to know it was me." It's the same exact tension and moment that is in 16 when he's like, "No, I want you to know it was me that killed Benedicta. I'm the one who killed your lover. I'm the one you're looking for." And then Kupka is just like, "Oh, this is a great day indeed. I get to kill you." And then they just go to war. And I'm not going to say how it ends because I'm going to send you the video after this, but just...
Well, I mean,
sounds good.
Just knowing that Clive, like you play as Clive as the main character of the game, you kind of can see where it goes just from there.
No, he does not. No, he is not prepared for what happens at the end of that scene. No, I disagree with you 100% there, Ben, and I can't wait to ask Cubby if he was prepared for what happened. But,
that's fair.
All right, Cubby, we've talked about a couple. Who do you have?
Yeah, I want to talk about my first one. I want to save my favorite for the second, but I'll talk about. I want to talk about, of course, one of my favorite games in 4, and of course, I don't want to talk about. I know I said I wanted it to be the main big bads, but Zemus is not really that great of a big bad. I have to talk about Golbez, Final Fantasy IV, who's the main antagonist through most of the game. His sprite is so intimidating when you see him in battle, clad completely head to toe in dark armor, massive imposing character. The first time the team, your party has to face off against him, he summons a dragon who just one hits characters individually and kind of builds that terror, and then I think it's in the DS remake, I think is when they went to the 3D remake, I think in the DS or later, you get his backstory as well. You get to hear the story of his birth, when he was first corrupted by Zemus, and how crazy he became, like initially, even as a child, and then obviously creating over the years to this massive warlord and magic user, all of that. So I don't know. It's just I think he's a great antagonist. Of course, being related to the main protagonist, adds that extra layer, that extra dimension. In the after years, which I don't think is as good of a game as the original, but it is interesting. He actually becomes a playable character, so he comes back. That's kind of fun. Definitely.
I think you were great to bring him up. He is a great villain. Mm-hmm. He's just, Zemus. I'm pretty sure it's his influence that just has Golbez indulge in his just darkest urges and darkest, what is it? What do they call it? Like the ego, super ego. There's all sorts of. We all have those dark tendencies. We all have that darkness in us, and it's whether or not you choose to indulge that side of yourself. And just seeing Golbez at his worst and watch the story play out and his even I like that he gets a little redeemed at the end is neat, because not all of these I wouldn't want it all of the time, but I think Final Fantasy does a good job of leaving most villains fairly evil. So seeing someone like Golbez pop up and be okay, it's not a slap in the face to someone who's like, oh, this has been the bad guy this whole time and now he's a good guy. It's the story makes it worthwhile. The journey is so well done.
Yeah, and the like I said in the backstory, it's his jealousy that originally Zemus is able to kind of take hold of, and
that's where he weasels in, and then
that's how he weasels his way in. Yeah, but even at the end, I mean, you say redeemed. Well, okay, he realizes he was being manipulated. Does he really become a good guy? He basically storms off at that point and says, "I want revenge."
I mean, yeah.
So
more. I guess he goes from chaotic evil to chaotic neutral. But
I mean, I consider
that a good guy.
Sure.
He's
Wouldn't
like,
you want revenge?
wouldn't that just be considered like anti-hero at that point?
Because I mean, even at the end of the game, right? Like he's obviously super powerful, but he can't make a dent against Zemus because he's kind of indulged the dark side too much, if you will, and you need someone who's really turned himself over to the light that can actually break through Zemus's defenses.
So I just looked up a photo of Golbez, and it's like, okay, yeah, this guy's intimidating. And just looking at it, it's like, he looks awfully familiar. Completely, I looked it up. He is actually in 14 post Endwalker, he is actually a antagonist all the way up to, well, Endwalker is the latest expansion, so up to current right now. Golbez makes a return, and he has like a dragon-like sidekick thing with him.
Mm-hmm. His shadow dragon.
Yeah,
that's what it was called in the original.
And seeing the sprite, Ben, doesn't even really give you the full scope of how intimidating it was, because when the sprite popped up, your characters were just so small, and the sprite itself was huge. It was almost the entire screen. It felt like, at least in my memory.
Final Fantasy always does that, right? Where you have the bad guys are always these massive sprites, and then they become a good guy, and they're like over here, that big. But you're right. I mean, the sprites, even the not the battle sprites, but even the sprites, the overworld sprites, right? His sprite took up the entire cube, if you will, whereas all the other sprites were definitely, felt more, I don't know, proportioned. And his sprite is just massive. And, he's defeated, I think, three, at least twice in the game. And yet he never dies. Like, you can quote unquote defeat him, and yet he just keeps coming back. It's like, you can't kill me, sorry.
I mean, to be fair, if you killed him, the story would be very, very different.
Of course.
Well, then that just makes him even more, intimidating and more of a threat. Like, you defeat him once, like, okay, cool, he's done. And then he comes back again, you fight him again, it's like, oh, I thought I defeated you. Okay, so you defeat him again. And then, like, the third time, it's like, why won't you die? It's like, why are you immortal? Why won't you die? Stay down for once. So yeah, this is gonna be like, I mean, I have to play a lot of the old school, or like 1 through 6. I still need to play. I have the Pixel collection, the Pixel remasters, so I know I can easily get through them because I have the bonus EXP, all that stuff. So I can just blaze through and just enjoy the story without the grind.
There you go.
Because I don't want to do that grind.
1 through 6. We want Cubby to catch up, and I think 10 would be an excellent one for Cubby to dip his toes into the next generation of voice acted Final Fantasies. And I say that as a tease because I want to bring up the boss from Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
But are you done, Cubby, before I switch us off to Golbez?
Yes.
Okay. So all through Final Fantasy X, you're dealing with Sin. You find out halfway through who's controlling Sin, and then you find out even later that Yevon, who is kind of it's the religion / cult that is controlling Spira, the world. And at the end of the game, you kind of find out that there was a war between summoners and people who use machines in Bavel. And Yevon summons this huge thing, which is Sin, and to fight. Eventually, he loses control of it, and there's this whole thing where Sin comes back, and summoners go on a pilgrimage. They get to defeat Sin, and then it goes away for like 10 years or so, but it always comes back. It's a cycle. And I don't want to get into too much because Ben hasn't played it, you haven't played it, and it is one that I think would be a fun play along because it's very easy, it's very player accessible. So I'm not, like, I don't want to get into too much with Sin and all that, but Yevon is very much the opposite of like a Kefka from 6, who I have a feeling we might be talking about in a little bit. Whereas he just, you're at war, summoners versus machines, and he comes up with this big idea to have Xanarkand go underwater, and have Sin go up and fight. And then he, just like war, war breeds chaos, and then he loses control, and then the world is just in this cycle. And I just really enjoy how they use him losing control as what builds the entire world. Like the entire universe of Final Fantasy X is built around this guy, this decision, and the aftermath of it all. And that's not something you put together until you play it once and you really can understand the whole story together.
This is kind of a side thing, and I agree with Sharp on this. The real big bad of 10 is Blitzball.
Blitzball is amazing. I love it. In its day, Blitzball was fantastic. I loved Blitzball. I spent way too much time playing it. It definitely is harder to play now, given how far video games have come. But back then, that was huge because all we had was card games. It was always 7 didn't have anything. 8 had an amazing card game. 9 had a crappy card game, and then 10 had Blitzball. And we're like, oh, this is a whole new level of, extra content. But it definitely did not age well. I'll give you that, Sharp.
Hey, 7 had Chocobo Racing. That's all that matters.
It had racing. It had the snowboarding. It had some cool things, but it didn't have like a league like the Blitzball League.
No, but you have the Golden Saucer. You don't need anything else.
You're not wrong.
Right? So is this a good point for a mid-break? All right.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
Welcome to the middle of the show where we talk about everything with the podcast that has nothing to do with the lore of the Final Fantasy. And here I do want to thank our patrons. Highland Cubby, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to join us on the show, just like Highland here, you can support us at patreon.com/the Final Fantasy Lorecast, where you can get ad-free episodes and even join us like today on the show of the topic of choosing. And you can also support us in a few different ways. You can support us also on Apple and Spotify. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple with some words, we'll read it out loud next time on the show, as well as a comment on Spotify with some nice words, which we actually do have one this week. And it was from our last week's episode of Remu, and it is written by Jeremy. Great job. I wanted to make another comment because I was kind of ripped on the last comment about 15 being my favorite one. I finished 16 last night and is obviously my favorite.
and it is obviously my favorite. That's because 16 is just mwah.
The storytelling's great. It was written fantastically, and the acting, the voices, everything they did with the game was spot on. It was great. And we're getting 2 DLC for it too now, because how great it's been. So you can support us that way if you want to leave comments and reviews, just like Jeremy. And you can also join us on a few different Discord servers, the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my Discord server, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show, as well as the other 3 shows I host, the Holocron Histories, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and now the Witcher Lorecast. So you can find them all right there. It's a lot of fun. Join us as I post pictures of myself in Ren garb when I go to the Renaissance Fair. And apparently I look like a Lambert.
100% do. And it's a compliment. Lambert's a good-looking guy. Take the wins, man.
I mean, sure, if you don't mind his attitude. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different podcast. But with that being said, let's get right back into more villains.
This summer, say I do.
I am marrying a stranger.
Like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts.
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name is Paul Brunson.
More couples.
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
And more surprises.
Or maybe not.
Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight, now streaming. New episodes Thursdays, only on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
All right, we are back, and yes, I agree with Sharp. Chocobos are the best thing in Final Fantasy. And also, thank you for the reminder, watch us on Twitch, on my Twitch channel at Ben of Temeria. I'm so close on getting affiliated. I just need an average of 3 viewers of my streams to get affiliated in the next 30 days. Help me out, please. But with that being said, who wants to... Do you want me to go with another one?
I've only got one left.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, my other choice is obviously the art, what most well-known, probably one of the most well-known big bads in Final Fantasy, which would be Sephiroth. I mean, you can't go wrong by him, even though he's like the most evil of people, who kills a very innocent young woman out of nowhere, and you want to stab him in the face.
He kills a lot of people.
He kills a lot of people, but man, when you first see him, that's the first thing he does. It's just like a freaking gut punch, man. Ugh. Yeah, yeah. Plus, he makes a bunch of other appearances in other games, such as, the Kingdom Hearts series, and that alone, like, if you think he's, like, tough enough in Final Fantasy VII, go try and find him as Sora in freaking Kingdom Hearts, because that is a nightmare.
Well, I mean, if we do the Michael Scott explain it to me like I'm 5, his big plan is, all right, I'm going to take this big meteor, and I'm going to ram it into Earth. And it's going to cause so much damage that the Earth is going to have to try and repair itself. And I'm going to infect the Earth while it's healing, take over the Earth, and then use it to sail the cosmos with my space magic.
Yeah.
I feel like clearly if you take our world and you move it out of the orbit, everyone on Earth dies. Like, if he's taking our planet to surf the cosmos, as he calls it. Like, I know Kefka ruined the world. He got to destroy, nuke everyone, but there were still people surviving. There were still people around. If Sephiroth had gotten his way, we'd just be like a skateboard. You watched Avatar. We'd be like, when Aang does his little wind ball and he rides
his
wind
air
ball
scooter
around. Yeah, we would be his air scooter. We'd be Sephiroth's air scooter.
Just dead. Because the Earth would be destroyed. Yeah. Yeah, terrible, terrible thing. And he's even, and if you think he was bad in the original 7, go play the remake of 7. They just, hey, here's Sephiroth, now give him time powers. And, time dementors that, come out of nowhere and wreck stuff.
Did you beat 7, Cubby? I know you played it. I don't know how far you got into it.
No, I haven't beat 7 yet. What I want to know is if you're flying through the cosmos, does your hair still whip around?
It has to. If you have hair like Sephiroth, yes, it has to. Why have hair like that if not to whip around?
Right.
Exactly.
I was about to say, with his hairstyle, it would have to, just so he could look quote unquote cool. That's the only time. But yeah, he's a terrifying villain. And I'm scared to see.
He was made in a lab. He's just the perfect soldier type villain. Oh God, what Sharp say? You looked over.
Oh no, it's Steven. Steve
Hello,
saying,
Steven.
The Dementors are my least favorite baddie. Yes, because they're not fun to fight. I'm just scared to see what he's gonna do in Rebirth. You fight him in an alternate dimension at the end of the remake of 7, where he has the one wing angel or fallen angel wing and everything, and has his Masamune and all that.
I think they're really trying to make him they're trying to make us empathize with him, with his backstory and everything in these newer ones.
They don't really go over his backstory a whole lot in 7 Remake. Are you talking about I
guess
Crisis?
I'm more thinking Crisis Core.
Crisis Core?
More
okay.
Crisis. So before he knows that he has Genova cells, before he knows he's half ancient, half alien, whatever, he just thinks he's this weirdo introvert. And he has his, he's soldier with Angel and Genesis. And then once he finds out what his dad did, how that all went down, he just snaps and goes crazy. And that's when, he burns Nibelheim to the ground and he just goes off on one. But I feel like they've really I think they're going to bring in so with Yuffie in the Intergrade DLC, they bring up the people from, Vincent's game, and I think they're going to bring up the Crisis Core stuff. So as much as you say he's an even bigger villain, I think he's going to be both a bigger villain and they're going to try and make us feel for him all at the same time.
Yeah, to make him more relatable and empathize with a villain for once, compared to, oh, this is the big bad, I have to go and stop him. Where you go and fight him, it's I feel sorry for this guy. Do I have to beat him up? Yes, you do. You do have to beat them up. But you can still feel sorry. Somewhat. But he's trying to destroy the world, so I still don't have remorse for him. I still don't have sympathy for him. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel bad for him before his psychotic break. And then once he broke, it's all right, man, you're a danger. You're trying to crash a meteor into the world.
Right. And you killed my best spellcaster when we first meet. That's a no-no.
All right, Cubby, how many do you have left?
I have one more left.
All right, I have one more left, so I'm going to go, and then we'll let you be the main event. So, Ultimecia, I think, from Final Fantasy VIII.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit slept on, but she is a sorceress who finds out, through destiny or whatever, I don't remember how, but that a seed is going to be her demise. So she finds out this is going to kill her. So she ends up teleporting through time, trying to find the seed that's going to kill her, which seed is like a military rank member. So it'd be like a Navy SEAL is going to kill her. So she's going through time, trying to figure this out. And the storyline ends up being, like the self-fulfilling prophecy. She actually travels back in time and dies. Whereas if she would have just stayed in her own time, the seed who kills her is in the past. So she goes back to her own death. But she goes back and the game starts off and they're like, oh, you need to go find the sorceress and you need to stop her. But in this world, they haven't had TV for 17 years. Think about what you were doing 17 years ago. I'm 35? I should have done this before, but like my life was so different 17 years ago. No TV. All of a sudden, the TVs all come on, and there's this sorceress with the mayor of the biggest town, and they are appointing her ruler. And she comes out to give her speech. The crowd is in a frenzy because she's cast a spell to make them love her. And she says, I'm in charge, I'm the ruler, and she rips out the mayor's heart on live TV and throws the corpse to the side. And you try and take her out with a bullet. She stops it midair. You go rush in and fight her, and it's just on from there. So yeah, this happened. It's a fantastic way to introduce her. The story is awesome because, again, you find out like she's from the future. If she had just stayed put, she'd be fine. But her insatiable desire to live forever and to always be in control, that was her downfall. And I always appreciated that because the storyline is super complicated. Like she wants to compress time and do all this, and the junction system is hard. But when you just boil it down to she's a sorceress, finds out her, how she's going to die, and it ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy, adding in the whole no broadcast for 17 years, I'm going to rip this dude's heart out. I just think that's great villain material.
And that's also why you don't mess with time travel.
Unless you're a Granger.
Unless you're a Ranger?
Granger, Hermione.
Granger.
It's the only time travel that ever works out.
That's a whole different concept of time travel, though.
Look at me getting us off topic from Final Fantasy. I'm doing the bad thing. But no, I love how it works out in 8. And one of the underappreciated things of 8 in the story is, so Sid in 8 is your headmaster. He's the guy who runs your school or whatever. And the sorceress has possessed Edna, I think is her name. And it's actually Sid's wife. So you don't realize it in the moment, but Sid is like just desperately trying to get his wife back from this sorceress who has possessed her. And he's just sending these seeds out into danger, just doing anything he can to find a way to get his wife back. And again, that's not something you realize until later on in the game. But when you do and you replay it, especially me being older, being married now, like it just has so much more weight to it, realizing that, man, this guy is fighting to get his, to get his partner back. And Ultimecia is the one who took her. So that adds even more into it for why I think she is just one of the most underrated bosses in Final Fantasy.
That's fair. I will shout out Sharp's comment in the Twitch chat, which is the Militites in Type 0 really bad. Killing kids and innocent people to get crystals. Type 0 is a very dark game. Which, Type 0 is a very dark game, even though it's a side game. It's dark. So, and that's a lot of the newer Final Fantasies, honestly. They went to much more darker toned. I mean, the earlier ones were dark tones, but being, 2D pixel, it was a hard concept to grasp. Like, you can read the story and it's like, okay, yeah, this is dark. And then you get to today's game with all the 3D rendering, motion capture and all that, and it's like, oh, this is dark.
Yeah, it's definitely comes across as much darker when you can see the things happening live. You have voice acting, you have sound effects that that are realistic. Yeah, it takes it to a whole new level. I agree.
All right, sir. It's time for the main event.
Yeah. Main event. Now, no surprise that the main event has to be Kefka.
Yeah, it does.
It has to be. We talk about, dark themes, darkness. I mean, you first find out about him because the first thing you find out that he's done, and he's taken over the mind of, one of the main characters, and sent her out to, be his little war machine. He poisons an entire town just, because he can. He's one of the things I like, and I know this, we have this a lot in Final Fantasies where the boss is somewhere, right? The boss is at the tower, the boss is in a castle, and they're there, but you have to actually go to them, right? They don't seem active, and from that perspective, it's kind of hard to really think that they're super dangerous sometimes, because you don't actually see them acting in the world. Whereas with Kefka, you see him acting. You feel him hounding your steps. The hilarious scene, I know that Sharp mentioned it earlier on, when he marches out into the middle of the desert and finds where you're hiding out in Edgar's castle, and he has his soldiers brush the sand off his boots because he's annoyed with the sand. And that's what's that's also part of the art that you see. Is he starts off as like this goofy, oh yeah, he must be really dangerous. The first time you battle with him, he runs away. He cracks jokes and runs away, and progressively gets more and more dangerous, to the point that the last time you have a chance to, the last several times that you have a chance to run into him directly, he apparently dies, like I was saying about Golbez and other. He apparently dies several times. Nope, you can't kill him. He keeps coming back. And the other thing that you mention is, like you said, Sephiroth definitely was really sick and twisted plan, right, to take the world and turn it into his own Silver surfboard, right? Kefka actually succeeds.
I was gonna say, but he didn't succeed.
He succeeds in doing what he wants. He completely annihilates the world. He absorbs all the magic power from the Warring Triad who created magic, and becomes effectively, a god, right? Remakes the world in his own image. It's not until the end, that he basically dishes a little bit on at the end, like, life is meaningless. I've accomplished everything that I want, and it's pointless. You're all going to die. So dark. And the other thing that I want to throw out there, I don't know if am I able to share on screen or not? I've got a couple of I've got pictures of his sprites from the original.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
I don't know if I can, oh no, I can't. I know you won't be able to see it on the audio version, but the number of expressions and various animations that they had for his sprite.
You can share it now. I turned it on.
Let's see if I can do it this way. So I pulled this off of one of the many Final Fantasy fandom websites. The sheer number of sprites that he has in the game, I don't know why they had a tent for him. That's there you go. I'm looking at your stream. The sheer number of sprites that they had for him, he was so expressive. With this, that 1,000 sprites or 1,000 bits or whatever it is, to be able to express so much, so iconic. His laugh, the laugh in the original game, I mean, you just hear that.
You can see it down on the bottom right.
Yeah. And you hear the sound effect. You hear the little MIDI. Uh-oh. We're in trouble now.
Yeah, and he started out as just a regular, I think he was even like just a slave. And they did the experiments on him and he got his magic and he just was I think I read he was the first one that got the magic. But we got to watch his descent into madness along with his rise in power. And I think having the sprites and having him be so expressive is part of us getting to go along on the crazy journey that is Kefka.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you don't trust a clown.
Absolutely. There's a Facebook group. There's a Final Fantasy VI Facebook group that's pretty active, and there's someone out there who's a teacher that did their door of their classroom with the Kefka face. It's just like zoomed in on his face like this.
That's cool.
And then it has a quote at the top, and I think it's the wait. Wait? What do I look like? A waiter? Again, and one of his brilliant jokes.
I mean,
there you go.
I think you saying you can hear the laugh. Like you see the face and you can just hear the laugh. I'm trying to think, is there anything that I associate more with a villain than Kefka and the laugh?
Joker.
I mean, in Final Fantasy villains.
I'm just saying, like when I guess when I'm looking like at his illustration, I was like, all I can hear is Mark Hamill's Joker laugh coming out of him, and it's just terrifying.
It's a great analogy, with the sheer level of chaos that the Joker brings. And Mark Hamill obviously does a great job, with the voice acting that he did. But yeah, just the sheer level of chaos that, it really isn't about it's about, gaining power and everything like that. But ultimately it's just about destruction. It's just about raining chaos, seeing things burn just for the sheer pleasure of seeing things burn.
That you're so right with that, because I'm looking at the quote, the big quotes they have for Kefka. Why create when it will only be destroyed? Why cling to life knowing that you have to die? Life, dreams, hope, where do they come from? And where do they go? None of that junk is enough to fulfill your hearts. Destruction is what makes life worth living. Destroy, destroy, destroy. Let's destroy everything. If that's not a villain, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrifying. No, thank you.
I skipped one. Read my lips. Mercy is for wimps. There's a reason oppose rhymes with dispose. If they get in your way, kill them. Those are from the villain fandom wiki. But great quotes. They are just kill anyone that gets in your way. Why worry about creating things? It's just going to get destroyed. Don't worry about living. You're just going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can, and I think you talked a little bit about that with Sephiroth, right? That he was, in many ways he was created, right? To be this superhuman, right? Same thing with Kefka, right? Was experimented on, was infused with the Magitech. Obviously it messed him up, and I don't think it's just simply a power corrupts, thing with him. There was probably something that just messed him up behind the scenes too. But clearly he was allowed to, and he was allowed to operate, and he was allowed to gain strength, before he really got on the crazy train, or almost hid the crazy train, if you will.
Right. Yeah. I feel like a lot of Final Fantasies have that kind of overarching message of the big villain is really just a product of the world itself rotting and that opportunity happening. Like if it wasn't Kefka, if it wasn't Sephiroth, it was going to be somebody else. Somebody was going. The way this world works, someone's going to get corrupted, going to get enough power, and like it's just eventually going to happen in these worlds. I feel like, and Kefka is just the perfect example of, like you said, the descent into madness and finding a way to bring everyone down with him.
Yep. So, any more on Kefka?
So, really satisfying boss battle too. Just like most in Final Fantasy VI, it's not particularly challenging. But the multiple layers of that, the fact that you have to defeat the three, the Warring Triad first, and then kind of work your way up, and it's the imagery is very simple. If you see some of the imagery of him, in his final form, if you will, you can see where they kind of got some of the imagery for Sephiroth as well. The angelic form, someone becoming godlike, yeah.
If you haven't played 6, go do it.
Yep.
Just go play all the Final Fantasies. Just go play all Final
Fantasy. And then eventually
Fantasy.
you can see if you can solo the Kefka fight with just Gao, as many people have done.
No, thank you.
I'm good. No, I don't want to do a whole other thing of Dark Souls with old school RPGs. I'm good. I've done enough of that in my life.
Do you have any other, Ben?
No, that was primarily it that I could think on the top of my head. There's always some good.
If he had more, I'm going to be very disappointed that he didn't bring them up before I called that the main event.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Well,
that would hurt my feelings.
Nothing come to mind except for some of the villains that come out through 14. And 14 being my favorite and most played game that I have in the series. The Asians are.
Who is your favorite villain from 14?
Oh, probably Nidhogg from the Heavensward expansion.
I've heard that name a lot.
He is a terrifying dragon the size of half of a city, and you fight him multiple times because he doesn't stay dead. Like most villains.
I was going to say, if he's the size of a city, it's probably pretty hard to kill.
Yeah. You go through at least 2 to 3 boss fights with him, if I recall, throughout the expansion. So, but yeah, I would say Nidhogg. He's look him up. He's a terrifying dragon. And he also corrupts everything that he touches, essentially, on top of that.
Is he a returning boss, or was he?
He was. He was mainly.
Page.
Yeah,
he was. He was. Mm-hmm.
He was mainly through Heavensward. Only as far as I recall, he does not return after Heavensward. Because you do actually slay him, or a character slays him. But there's other dragons that make a return though later down the line that are not enemies, which is a fun. Good thing to have, because dragons in Final Fantasy are like dragons in D&D. They literally can destroy mountains with no effort. Because why not? Or Sharp has FF14 wild squirrels, or angry trees, as far as I can see. Yeah, if you're in the Great Wood, there are. Oh shoot, I cannot remember the creature's name. It's a very traditional D&D creature that you would see with trees. Turrets. That you fight and kill, whatnot. But yeah, that's what I got. You got one more, Trey?
Oh no, that's it.
That's it? Okay. Well, before we wrap this up, Hylian, is there anything that you want to shout out or tell people how people can get a hold of you or anything like that?
I don't have anything to shout out. I try to stay active on the Discords, both Ben of Temeria's and Robots Radio Discords. So
can I put you on the spot?
Go for it.
Are those juggling balls behind you?
Indeed, they are.
Are they yours? Let's see it if they're yours. Awesome.
Absolutely.
There you have it. Sir. And if you're listening to this, obviously you cannot see, but Highland can juggle.
That's why you should watch Ben's streams.
Yes, they're all fun. All my streams, I've been... go and watch my streams of my other shows that I do, as well as my game streams. I've been doing a little bit more recently. I've been streaming The Witcher 3 on Next Gen, which just recently wrapped up the Netflix quest, which was really cool and interesting. They added new lore to the Witcher universe with that quest to tie in the Netflix gear, as well as they added a new monster, which was a very interesting monster fight. So fun stuff there. But with that, Hyleen, thank you for joining us on today's Patron chat, as always. And everybody, thank you for listening to the Final Fantasy Lorecast, and may the crystals guide you. Thank you for listening to the Final Fantasy Lorecast. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net. You can find us on Twitter at FFLorecast, and you can email us at fflorecast@gmail.com.